Welcome to the Better Pairs Podcast. Join Dr. Jason Fujikawa for his insights on theology, philosophy, culture, and the verbal expressions we use to relate meaning and reality to one another. Make no mistake, this is a podcast for nerds, but particular nerds who are searching for old wisdom made ever new. To learn more about the Better Pairs cultural empire, please visit betterpairs.com. Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Jason Fujikawa. This episode is on gravy, gravity, and glory. The purpose of the episode, like all those of the podcast, is to suggest deeper meanings for the words we employ to express reality each day. Thus, while the positions offered in each episode are in no way definitive and at times are rather speculative, it is my hope that they function as timeless attempts at expanding your palette for true and accurate verbal expression. If you disagree with a connection made in the episode, please respond in the comments. If you enjoy this episode, we also ask that you like the episode, subscribe to the podcast if you have not already, and let us know in the comments. This simple task truly helps us reach a wider audience. To receive the transcript of each episode and be the first to learn of Better Pairs announcements, please sign up to our newsletter at the bottom of the page at betterpairs.com. To view all the podcast episodes arranged by season, episode number, and topic, head over to betterpairs.com/schedule. Each episode on the list is hyperlinked to assist you with sharing a particular insight with family and friends. In addition to the Better Pairs podcast, Better Pairs also presents The Confederate Reserve, our interview series on Rumble and YouTube, which connects old friends over even older classical works that have shaped the life of each episode's guest. They are conversations long overdue and designed to model substantive conversations about the great ideas that you too can have with formerly close friends and family who may have become distant since last election cycle. Visit our video channels through the links in the description. Finally, the Better Pairs podcast is offered free through the wonder of the internet, but made possible through the continued contributions of our listener audience. This year, we announced our new crowdfunding program at Better Pairs Leaves. The program is simple and some might say elegant in design. Contribute $12 or more each month to Better Pairs and receive a thank you gold back in the mail. It is like a Patreon, but with fractional physical gold instead of behind the scenes and blooper reels. If you have been listening to the Better Pairs podcast or the Confederate Reserve for some time and recognize that the ideas shared stand out from other offerings on the internet, are worthy of sharing, and are worthy of your support, this community-driven contribution program is for you. As an additional thank you to our contributors, each month from July to December 2024, one lucky supporter will receive a free Better Pairs mug of his or her choice from the Better Pairs market in addition to the monthly goldback. To learn more, contribute, and read official rules, visit betterpairs.com/giveaway. Thank you for your continued patronage of attention and Federal Reserve notes, and now, on with the episode. Season 3, Episode 2, Gravy, Gravity. One of the great paucities of our current epoch is the fallen prominence of gravies in our lived culinary experience. The economic and sociological push to dine out of the home prior to the global pandemic left generations of young people scrambling to cook and bake for themselves just a few years ago. Either for its perceived use of excess energy or protracted preparation time, the culinary art of roasting meats was largely overlooked in this otherwise concocted cuisine renaissance. Roasts produce juicy broths, which are thickened through the addition of flour or starch to become gravy. The production of gravy occurs while the roast is resting out of the oven prior to being carved. Served with a vegetable and starch, the roast completes the meal, while the gravy and the added labor to prepare it now seem superfluous. We settle for broth. Again, gravy is heavy broth, and so named likely on account of its weightiness and downward direction, as the adjective grave denotes, and the noun grave exemplifies. Graveness, in the sense of gravitas, bears, in addition, the same sense that thickness, opposed to leanness in animals and humans, signifies maturity and ascendancy to one's prime development. To be thin and lean is a sign of the precocious and precarious. The mature statesman or leader is said to carry a corresponding gravitas, which implies intentionality, and presumably reflective intentionality hard-won through previous errors and course corrections. Gravitas is exemplified by consistency in action, yet a responsiveness to changing conditions, which is the mark of prudence. A grand Latinized word like gravitas is successful in conveying a sense of meaning while not betraying the stultifying mystique concerning gravity itself. We do not know why gravity as a phenomenon occurs. In school, we are taught the scientific method, which begins with observation and then proceeds through the development of hypotheses and their testing to either confirm or negate the proposed rationale for the originally observed phenomenon. While Newton, Galileo, and Einstein, among many others, contributed to the development of modern gravitational theory, it still only accurately predicts and explains the phenomenon, the observable effect of gravitation. Modern gravitational theory is remarkably useful for civil and mechanical engineering, aeronautics, regular nautics, and space exploration. Still, the reason why two material bodies experience a mutual attractive force upon each other relative to their mass and distance cannot necessarily be explained simply through the observational scientific method, if indeed something higher than the human observer causes gravity. The ancients and medievals understood a science beyond physics, which they appropriately called metaphysics. The meta signified two aspects. First, that the object of this science was beyond what was observable, that is, being itself, and not merely the accidents or appearances of existing things. Second, that the scope of this science was primarily the dominion of a higher being, which the Christians understood to be God, and even the ancient pagan philosophers understood to be their own idea of the divine. Human insights into metaphysics will not be deductive from first principles, but rather inductive or participatory at best. As to our present concern, gravity, the ancient and medieval metaphysicians understood that the movement of the heavenly bodies are either directly moved by God's deputed intermediaries, or informed with their movement by God in their creation. The discussion by the ancients and medievals of earthly bodies, the sublunar realm, is obscured by the overwhelming gravity of the earth, and so such thinkers tend to ascribe the third causal explanation, a formal inclination downward to earthly material beings. Again, Newton and company are more helpful in the sublunar realm for grasping gravitation as a universal force. The heavens, however, are more useful for our current inquiry because the first two causal explanations gained greater traction on account of the consistent movement of the stars and planets. Thinkers such as St. Thomas Aquinas held that, yes, God could move the heavenly spheres immediately, but it would be more fitting for his governance and glory to depute intelligences, that is, angels, to carry out his work on his behalf. If true, God entrusting the constant and consistent exercise of gravitation across all space and time to angels should scare what of hell remains in you. Our weakness of intellect, will, and flesh stands in stark contrast to the unwavering obedience of gravitation, to which you could set your sundial. For a long while now, we have made man the measure of all things, and in so doing we have lowered the bar of excellence. We cannot, it seems, be idealists seeking virtue and the common good, when pragmatics, practicality, and the real politic are so useful for attaining and retaining power. We have cast aside all talk of angels and obedience and replaced the medieval cosmology with a functional deism, the watchmaker god, who establishes the laws of nature and then conveniently does not attend to our open manipulation and eradication of these ordinances. Genetics is fair game insofar as gametes are spread open to our domination. Synthetic hormones can be used to alter our development and sterilize our future. Morality's only limit seems to be what is possible, and no longer what is good. Yet all the while, angelic gravitation remains consistent across the wide expanse of space through the enduring passage of time. To what end? To what end, our infant human hearts cry out, we who were not there when God laid the foundation of the earth. In our shortness of vision, we prefer to see angelic or divine intervention in the car crash averted, or the failed assassin's bullet, the tellus with a frustrated telos. More difficult it seems to keep in mind the gravity that keeps the sun burning and orients every sprouted plant to receive the sun's rays. Gravity pulls water back to the earth as rain to fill our cups, and gravity pressurizes our atmosphere to fill the cavity of our lungs. Gravity is an act of love for the human family so great that it can withstand our complete disregard, for it is founded on the love and obedience of the angels toward God. Such extreme love did not waver as the crucified Christ struggled to breathe his last, nor as the spear point pierced his side did it cease to pour forth water and blood. The angelic presence in the salvific work of Jesus Christ should not be merely assumed, as it was contempt for the human family and the elevation of human nature above the angelic on account of the incarnation that sparked the light-bearer's rebellion. The appearance of angels at the resurrection, and the efficacious work of angels perhaps in the crucifixion itself, manifests the glory of God, the conformity of his creation to his divine will according to their proper mode. The unerring consistency of angelic obedience can only heighten awareness of our own rebellion, our own futile fallenness. If not for the invitation of Christ choosing us to follow him, how could we stand, kneel, or even prostrate ourselves before the heavenly court? Still, that is the end, the purpose, the telos of all space, time, gravitation, and strife. We are called to attend the great wedding feast of the Lamb, to become the kind of human being who can enjoy his presence on account of his grace, his glory, and in some sense, his gravy, which overcomes whatever is distasteful in us. The views expressed by Better Pairs contributors are theirs alone, and do not necessarily reflect the views of Better Pairs, its parent company, or any company or organization affiliated with the contributors. For more information, to support Better Pairs, or to shop for Better Pairs merchandise, please visit betterpairs.com.